Welcome back to Nobody Asked for This podcast with Saulyna and Cali May. I've been watching, or I guess rewatching, The Fosters, but this one episode that I saw the other day made me think of a topic. I think our view on this is probably super different than if you were raising a kid now, and also like how you used to raise children, I guess. But anywho, the episode was someone got smacked. His dad punished him by getting spanked. So I think I want to talk about that, if you are comfortable with that, about our childhood being raised. Were you grounded? Were you spanked? What was your kind of discipline growing up?
Okay, I think this would be really cool. First of all, based on now and before, and then you and I growing up. This is also could go into growing up in different kind of household. I had a single mom, Black mother, and then you had two parents, white family. This would be good if we really get into this.
Yeah, I think it will be a very good comparison. And also, I don't really actually know how you grew up. So this will be something that I can learn from you and for you as well.
But okay, you start. What's the most mediocre thing you would get grounded for?
To be honest, all of the things that I'm remembering were the big things.
The big stuff. Yeah, me too. That's why I wanted to see your smallest thing, because I was hoping it would trigger something in me. I know sometimes she'd be like, do the dishes. I left one fork in there because I ate after I did the dishes and then would get grounded for that. But there's big things where I did deserve to get grounded, not going to lie.
I don't know. I also think I was just a good kid, though. Now that I'm thinking of it, I feel like I actually wasn't getting that much discipline in these areas. Oh, man, I don't know.
Yeah, because I want to hear what you're about to say, because you just said you were a good kid, but if you were my mother's child, you would have been grounded every single day.
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is what I want to talk about, especially our different parent roles. But I know my main thing that would happen literally probably once a week. Let's go with 7th grade is probably whenever everyone is asking for nudes and everyone finds out that girls are becoming girls.
Yeah, puberty hit.
Yes. So I think this is definitely where I started testing my waters. I think Sierra took the fall for a lot of things, because not only are you an older sister, so you're experiencing it before me, but also it taught me the right way to get away with it, if that makes sense. So what I remember happening at least once a month is not once a month, once a fucking week. Probably whenever we would be at dinner, they would collect our phones and they would go through our phones. So text messages, photos, if Snapchat was at this time, whatever the apps were, my parents would go through them. And I remember, because Sierra's phone would always get taken first. So thank you, Sierra. But that's how I knew that mine was about to get checked, because I would take my phone, be excused from the table, I'd run to the bathroom, and I would delete everything. Absolutely delete everything. And then, come back out to the table. Either Sierra would get her phone taken away or she could keep it. And then they'd go through mine. But this actually ended up making me do you remember the app that you could put pictures in, but they would appear as another app?
Yeah, like the calculator thing.
Yeah.
It looked like a calculator, but it was just a photo vault.
Yes, that's literally, I had 3 of those.
I had 2. I actually still have one on my phone, but I don't think there's anything in it.
That's so funny.
That's so cool.
That unlocked something from the memory. But I had one of those that I would put all of my bad things in.
What are your bad things? I want to know. Are they just nudes? Because mine would be screenshots. Like, it would be a drama that I wanted to remember. It would be someone's boyfriend that I'm not ready to use this yet, but when I need to, it's in here.
Mine weren't even nudes. I didn't really take nudes. I had, like, pictures of me in bikinis or
Yeah, that's the same thing. I had that too. And then I had sports bra pics and the cheer spandex thing, and I'd be like, "Wow, this looks so good."
like, whenever I feel like boxers were a really big thing when we were in middle school, so it'd always be me in my American Eagle boxers and sports bras. I don't even know, I just know that I backtalked every single minute, but it was to the point I don't really think I was getting disciplined for it because I don't really know if my mom just accepted the way that I treated her or if it was because she knew even if she did discipline me, I could still do it or I would still do it. I don't really know why I didn't get I mean, I definitely did get disciplined in the very beginning for it, but I can't tell you what it was. It was probably just like, "Oh, you can't have friends over this weekend," or "You can't go anywhere," kinda thing. But those ones weren't as such harsh punishment that make me remember. The things that I'm remembering are I remember whenever I got into a fight with my mom in the front seat of her car. She was driving me home from cheer practice, and she backhanded me, and my nose started bleeding everywhere in the car, and she yelled at me for getting blood everywhere in her car.
'Cause your nose was bleeding?
And then whenever we came inside, of course, I was like, "I'm not eating dinner, you don't have to cook for me, I'm not doing anything." Like, don't do anything because I can live on my own, you know? I don't know if we got McDonald's or if she made a cheeseburger, but I vividly remember it being a cheeseburger because she threw it at me and the ketchup splattered all over our kitchen curtains and there's still stains of ketchup on it. So that's the only reason I remember that. But what? I don't even know what my punishment was. I know I used to get spanked all the time from my dad, but I don't know what I would do. I remember this one time too, my dad threw me across my room because
Yeah.
I don't know what I did though. He just picked me up and launched me.
See, that's the craziest thing. There's so many big moments that where I'm like, "Whoa, this was honestly." I'm not even gonna say it's borderline abuse. This got bad, and when it comes down to it, it's all I remember is the aftermath. I'm like, "What did I do?" Even when I talk to people about it now, even to any my counseling right now, it's like, "Well, what did you do?" I don't even know. All I remember is her reaction to it. But my attitude definitely got me in my mouth, my attitude definitely got me in a lot of trouble. It still does to this day.
Yeah, but I'm the same way, and I wonder why that is. Do you think it's because we've blacked it out what we did? Or do you think it's because maybe it actually was nothing and the treatment was just what stuck out?
I think if the treatment wasn't so extreme, we would remember it. I think how we felt during the treatment just overtook anything that happened right before that. It was kind of, I only
Right.
have so much space for this memory.
That just made me think of more of my punishments. Actually, growing up, getting soap in my mouth and getting it wasn't hot sauce, but it was like hot sauce in my mouth. I got that quite a few times.
I always heard about people getting that, but I never got that. I just got hit automatically.
I think that's why I love hot things now.
Obsessed.
'Cause it was, eat this hot sauce, bitch," and now it's giving me all the hot wings.
Was that just for getting smart and the cussing? Was the only time those ones would happen?
I don't even know what I was doing. I remember I told my neighbors that I didn't wanna be friends with them anymore and that I hated them, and my mom grabbed me and pulled me inside and, like, shoved soap down my mouth, and she told me that I needed to go over to their house and apologize to them. I did. I went back over and I was like, "I do wanna be friends. I'm sorry." Blah, 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 blah."
My gosh. That's where our mom's parenting styles are different too, because if that happened to me, my mom doesn't give a fuck about things like that. I mean, the only thing she would get at me for getting close to that was how I treated my brother, because I treated him like shit. And she was like, "You never treat your friends like that. You're not supposed to treat your brother like that, blah, 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 blah." He's such a go with the flow, chill guy, and I took full advantage of that. And she hated seeing that.
Yeah, I think it was in the sense that she actually witnessed me telling people that I hated them at such a young age. Whenever you're raising a child, you're always like, hate's such a bad word. Don't use that. So I think that's probably where she was coming from. That's just such a strong word. I can't believe you used it because I did not tell my mom things, or not even my mom, but I didn't tell my
Mhm.
parents things. I didn't tell them what was happening. They could find out, but I'm not gonna be the one that tells them. So I think that since she actually got to witness me being a bitch to my neighbors, she just kind of lost it, I guess.
But think about it like that too. Our parents, they were giving us these huge repercussions and these huge things for every little thing that we did, every big thing that we did. And now people are so open with their parents. Their parents know every little thing about them. And I know our generation, as we're growing up, the ones doing that because we're like, well, I wasn't able to have that with my parents. So now I'm going to find every way possible for my kids to be able to do it with me. We think being disciplined, obviously, I am going to just straight up say helped me in a lot of ways. I know right from wrong. I know what to do in situations. And some kids you just see outside now at restaurants, at the grocery store, whatever, you're like, yeah, they need their ass beat.
Oh, 100%. Especially as a server, we see kids all the time, sitting there with their tablets. And I mean, I feel like I can't compare it to my childhood because we didn't have tablets until, middle school. So obviously our childhood is different. And I feel like I actually don't have a right to comment on that. So I won't.
I don't want people to take this as us trying to parent when we don't have kids because we're not. We're just saying what it looks like on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because when I was growing up, we would literally play underneath my trampoline because it would be so muddy and we'd roll in it. We were outside kids.
Yeah. And image is just so important now. A kid steps in mud and their parents are like, what are you doing? I just got you those shoes. You've worn them one time.
Yeah, that's very true.
But back up to the iPad thing is it's just so insane to me. I don't know if there's this gap that I just didn't see or because I remember us being kids and I still have this in my head. That's how you're supposed to grow up. Then I see the children in my family. I'm like, whoa, you guys are totally different. My niece can use my iPad better than I can. But my problem is it's not even specifically them using it. It's to the point where if your mother tells you to get off the iPad and you throw a whole fit, that's where it becomes a problem. Because I at work, like literally in the exact same instant, she literally was on her mom's phone and her mom's like, I need my phone. And this girl threw the phone and then threw a whole fit in the whole restaurant.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm going to relate that to, say, my favorite toy. I'm going to be mad if I can't have my favorite toy. And in this sense, that is probably their favorite toy. That might be their only toy. Do you have anything or any specific instances that you want to bring up about your childhood discipline?
I mean, already know my attitude is a huge problem. But like, it got to the point where I wouldn't even have attitude. She would just make up that I had attitude in her head. I saw you roll your eyes, and I was like, I wasn't even looking. I just blinked, and then I get in trouble for that, or respond in the way that she wanted me to. Because I grew up, you have to say like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, to everything. If everyone is Mister and Mrs. and blah blah blah, and my friends around me didn't have that, so I would go to my friend's house, and their mom would be like, hey, I'm Kathy. How are you? So I know her as Kathy. So and then we're out. And they're like, oh, Kathy and I don't know, some friend's name. They want me to go here. My mom's like, did you just call her mom Kathy? Then I'm in trouble for that. And I'm like, she told me to. And I was like, you never do that. You're not allowed to do that. Blah, blah, blah. You're not even going over there anymore. So it came down to she ran a very, very tight ship. Even to this day, I'll catch myself as a full-on adult talking to someone older than me, and I call them by their first name, and I just have so much, like, guilt in me. I'm like, I'm not even gonna belittle. There were some things I definitely got in trouble for that I deserved to get in trouble for. In my opinion, I wouldn't have had to be I was very sneaky, and I always got caught. And I wouldn't have had to be this sneaky if she would have been more chill about the actual chill thing. It's like, "Okay, it is a Friday night. All my friends are going somewhere. Can I go?" And then it would just be, "No, because who's gonna be there? Or is there a guy gonna be there? Is there blah, 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 blah." So I'm like, "Okay, learn my lesson. Next Friday, actually, I'm going to this friend's house," and now she has no idea where I actually am.
Okay, so since you were that child, did you I don't know the saying, but it's something if you were raised with a strict family, like, you end up having a bad kid.
Oh, yeah, like, strict parents create sneaky children.
Yeah, so do you believe in that?
I do. I do. And that's where it gets so complicated too, because there's also so many situations that I was safe from, and so many things I take into my life now that I'm like, okay, well, thank God she did raise me this way because I wasn't there when this happened. I'm completely out of trouble. I don't want to entirely talk crap on it, but I still wanted the opportunity to make those mistakes with my friends. I still wanted to be out there with them when this was happening. So I don't know if there's ever going to be a way to find a balance on how you're supposed to do it. I told you the story about her just like showing up to my job randomly to make sure I was there instead of somewhere else. And the phone thing was just a whole nother situation. We had a strict curfew with phones and obviously no dinner phones. She would just decide to take it randomly. And I didn't have an older sister who got hers first. I was the only girl. So I got my phone checked immediately all the time first, especially because my room was right next to my mom's. Because even though my brother had the bigger closet and I had more clothes, she's like, "You're the girl, so you need to be right next to my bedroom." So she just comes out in a mood one day, says, "Give me your phone." That's it. Of course, I didn't ask why, even though in my head I'm like, "We didn't even do anything this time." And then Saul's room was downstairs. So he was like the you, like, "Oh, I just heard her go in her room. Let me hurry up and do this. Let me delete this, delete this." But I kind of want to hear his side on things too. We should do a siblings episode one day.
That'd kind of be scary, to be honest, because I know we definitely view it differently, but she also, one, has a actual memory. I swear to God, I have short term, or I guess long term memory loss. So whenever she brings stuff up, I remember them, but flip. Like, she'll say stuff that she did, but I thought I did it. That's why I don't like talking about my past, because I feel like half the shit I'm talking about is made up.
I know. Saul and I never talk about it.
Sierra and I don't really, other than if there's an instant that popped up and we're like, okay, let's dissect this. But it's not something we talk about every day. It's something once in a blue moon that will help each other discover if that's what we're looking for.
And then if he sees something on social media and he sends it to me, he's like, "You remember when she did this? Or doesn't this remind you of this?" But that's kind of the only time. I kind of do want to sit down and talk to him about things one way because I mean, I remember a lot of things, but I just tuck them in. And and because him and I never talk about it, we'll randomly say something and I'm like, "Whoa, I thought I was the only one who remembered that happening." And he did too. Even like huge things that I just assume that he didn't take note of or even notice because he didn't ever bring it up. Or even in the situation when it was happening, I was the only one who, one, either got in trouble for it, two, was the only one who said anything about it. But that could have just been with me having all brothers too. They're not going to sit down and talk about their feelings or bring out anything.
Yeah. I was a good child in the sense of like, I never snuck out. I never had people over without asking. I was good in, I guess, the permission aspect of things. But I remember Sierra and I used to fight all the time. But I remember this one fight that we had because you know how the pillows that I have are like memory foam, like the really hard ones?
The hard ones, yeah.
I remember she went boom and it came over my head and I literally went like this and it like fucked my neck up so bad.
You guys are actually going to kill each other.
I started crying because I literally thought I was stuck in a turtle shell. I was like, my neck is stuck, like it's kinked.
That's probably what started your freaking neck problems. You've had back and neck problems your whole life.
Dude, she wailed me with that bitch. But she's strong as fuck too. And then my dad and I would wrestle.
Actual wrestling.
Yeah, not in the sense of him hurting me, but just like, I don't know, that was our thing.
You're the son he's never had.
Yeah, our dad and daughter hobby. It was He would let me stay up for the UFC fights and then we'd wrestle. But I don't know. I bet Sierra could probably bring up some times that I was in trouble, but nothing is really sticking out.
I just was always in trouble. It's literally when I reflect on, even when my family members reflect on it, they're like, you stayed in trouble. You were always in trouble. I don't even want to say I was bad. It was literally, I was just getting in trouble for everything that I did. You're saying you were good because you never had to sneak out or you could have friends over and stuff. I wasn't even allowed to go out or have friends over. I had to sneak to do it. Like you could ask permission to do it and they would say yes. So they knew what was going on. I asked permission to do it. She was never saying yes.
I wonder what her reasoning is for saying no. If it was a protection or because I think a lot of the time, especially if my mom was telling me yes, is because like living through me. But for you, I don't really know what the correlation for positive would be when she's
Yeah.
saying no. All I'm thinking of is negative, nothing positive.
Even to this day, protection can only go to a certain extent. I honestly could have been control.
Mm,
Just felt good to be able to control me. Because you do what I say, I don't have to have a reason. I'm the parent.
yeah. I don't know what her childhood was like. If she had a mother involved, maybe it was just her mom didn't even care about her. So she's trying to get the control aspect of you because she didn't have a mother figure.
I don't know a single thing about her childhood. I know her mom's name and I know her mom died, but she doesn't talk like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just spewing some things off.
And that's where it gets hard with the whole adoption thing, too. Some of the things that are ingrained in you are just genetics in general. She only birthed 2 sons. And I remember even sometimes we would get in trouble or we would do something she doesn't like. And she would be like, you're acting just like your birth parents, to be as offensive as possible. Like, you're acting just like them. That's from them. That's your dad. That's your mom coming out. Oh, you want to be a hoe like your mom?
But did you ever meet your birth parents?
Yeah, I did. My dad is her brother.
So how old were you when you met them?
Um, I don't really know because I lived with my birth parents at one point
But like it was when you were young, wasn't it?
until I was like 6. I remember certain spots of that. And then we were in the foster homes for a little bit. And then I came with her. I don't remember. I remember them trying to contact us, and it started out as just phone conversations. And then I would get to hang out with my grandmother, which was my real mom's mom. But I wasn't allowed to hang out with my mother yet. Then it gradually ended up, my grandma visits gradually ended up being with my mother. My dad was in jail for a long time. I met him later.
I feel like it's even weird for me to hear you remembering these things whenever you just said it was like the first 6 years of your life. Because for me, my first memory is probably when I'm like 14.
Well, I only remember the bad things too, so that's what sucks.
Since you do remember your childhood, is there anything positive about it?
Like with them, I don't recall anything. I mean, I've seen pictures, but even when I see picture, people are like, pictures bring back memories. Like it doesn't bring back anything for me.
I mean, you were just alive. You weren't absorbing anything yet.
I remember big events and the thing that actually got us taken away from our parents. I remember that's my most memorable thing. I remember most of the things happening in that night. I remember what I had for a snack that night.
Oh, wow. That's like trauma bonded as fuck.
I know, I hate it.
That's kind of. And how old were you when that happened?
5.
Wow. And you remember literally all of it.
And Saul does too. And we, one day we actually got drunk. I think we were on edibles too. And we just started like getting on our feels. And that's something he brought up too. Like he remembers the color of the truck that we got into that day.
Wow. That's
I
very
know.
vivid.
I know. But and then it's like, ask me something from 2 weeks ago. Can't tell you.
Yeah. I would love to know the study behind that.
I know. I give some scientists permission to just come work on me and my brother. If you can fix me, go ahead.
No, I always say that. Literally, give me a body scan because I'm fucked up.
Yeah, I'll just take a brain scan. Like I was watching this thing where I don't know if it's true because it's so hard because I want to question everything. I need to see the science behind it so that I know it's true. But these girls got a brain scan and legit just by the colors and stuff, they could tell you've dealt with all this trauma. Or they'd be like, something really, really big happened into your life when you were 14 years old. And the girl would be like, oh my God, yeah, it did. That's what I want to do. But I looked it up and it's like $1 million or so.
Yeah, well, a CAT scan in general is fucking buckaroo crazy.
Oh my God. She's stressed out as fuck every day. Oh my God. Maybe I only got one before and they pretty much told me to stop drinking caffeine. So I didn't listen.
Good. So you got the test and didn't listen.
I want to do an actual brain analysis. I want you to break apart every single part of that.
Yeah, like you want to know the in-betweens and all of the above. So I'm trying to think of what kind of question or what else I want to ask you because
Have you ever ran away or gotten kicked out?
no, I never got kicked out. I definitely have tried to run away. I know I definitely had a go bag because every time that we'd get into a fight or anything, the first thing I would say is, I hate you. I wish you guys would get divorced. You're the worst mom ever. You're the worst da-da-da ever. And I would pack my bag or just pick up the bag that I already had packed and walk outside. But I would literally just go and hang out in the backyard and play with the dogs. Like I wouldn't actually leave. But I made such a big scene hoping that, someone would follow me or wherever. And no one ever did, so I probably should have left. But but instead I was just hiding in the backyard playing with Lexa and Lucy.
It's so weird because I've gotten kicked out like a million times, but it was never kicked out to where I could even stay. Like I remember when I was younger, she just threatened to kick us out and I'd cry. I'd be like, no, 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 please don't, please don't. And it obviously would do like what she wanted it to do. But then I got older and I just started leaving. My best friend lived 2 streets over. So, I mean, she would come find me that night anyway. She would just drive over there because I would just walk. But it got to the point where she would be like, get out. So I would get out. But she'd be like, and don't take anything I bought with you. So I wouldn't take anything. And then there was one point where me and my brother actually got kicked out at the same time. We both were like, well, let's just go. And he had his friend come pick us up. And we actually ended up driving to Pittsburgh so she couldn't find us.
And what happened?
My cousin ended up taking us back because we ended up staying at her house and then she called her and then we went back the next morning. And then we got in trouble for leaving. And I'm like, well, you told us to go. And then the next time it happened, it was just me again. And she, don't take anything with you that I bought. She legit made me strip and walk out of the house. She was like, I bought all the clothes you have on, so take them off and then you can leave. Ask me why. Like we said, I can't tell you. I don't remember what I did.
I don't know, dude.
It's weird.
Crazy.
I know. But then it's like I'm the most disciplined person now. Like people are like, oh, you should have never had to deal with that. But now I'm so structured and reliable and disciplined. So was it better for me?
Yeah, but is that something that you like about yourself?
I think so, yeah. No, I definitely do. But it's also, I don't know. Yeah, it helps me be a lot more successful than I could have been, than I thought I would be. I'll say that. Because I am different from everyone else in my family who wasn't raised like that. Everyone's always like, yeah, because look who you were raised by. Yeah, because she raised you right. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
I don't like that term. Why do people always say, oh, your parents raised you so well? I don't like that. I don't know why, but I don't like that term.
Especially in our hometown, my mom knows every single person.
Mhm.
Oh, you're Karen Wells' daughter. Oh, your sister's daughter. I remember her it's jokes about it because there was a point I was just attached to her hip, and it wasn't even because I wanted to. Everyone's like, "Oh, because you guys are so close," and it was no, because physically, even if I was at a basketball game, she'd be like, "You're sitting next to me." Everyone would think, "Oh, you and your mom have such a good relationship," and no, I just wasn't allowed to do anything except be next to her.
What about dates? I remember whenever we would start going out on dates, my mom would be the one that would chaperone us. I would meet up with whoever it was at the movies, and my mom would just sit 3 rows behind us. Or if we went ice skating, I'd meet you at the ice skating rink and she'd stay in the stands. I could go on them, but I was being watched.
And my mom doesn't know a single date I have ever been on.
As in, she wouldn't give you permission.
As in, I never even like, guys were just, like, an absolute no to her, so I would never even ask. I got a little lucky when I got older because my older cousin was old enough to have her own house and her own car. She'd be my chaperone, but she's also only 6 years older than me. I mean, I'm sure that my mom might have guessed or might have known, but she's never brought it up. To this day, she thinks I was completely boy-free all through high school. I had guy friends, and those were the people I went to dances or things with. Of course, had to be approved by her first, but say that I would have to start dating all over again, I don't think I'd feel comfortable being like, "What are you doing tonight?" I think I would still lie to her about what I was doing.
Is it I don't know how to comment to that.
You don't have to, but I'm literally talking to you.
I get it, but it's also just like, that's sad because I get it. I mean, I don't talk to my mom. And see, I don't know how I want to view that because obviously you want that kind of relationship with anyone. Like you want to be able to talk, but I totally understand the aspect of you don't need to know everything I'm doing, especially because I'm an adult now.
Yeah. It's not even to the point where I think she would even be rude about it because there's been things that I have gradually been sprinkling in there that I would never say to her before. And she's accepted it way better than I thought she was going to. I was like, whoa, I've been so nervous to tell you that for this many years. And you were actually so chill about it. So I think that I don't even feel comfortable doing it. It would just feel so weird and unnatural to do it. Like we don't have that relationship.
I wonder if she was ever waiting for you to clap back. Like how you just said you finally did it and she accepted it. I wonder if she was waiting for you to do
So like
that
testing me.
like your whole life. Yeah. But you just now tested the waters kind of thing.
I don't know. I would have just been way too scared to even try.
Well, I think it's super important to say that, especially this episode, we are not critiquing how we were being raised, but just as of the adults that we are now and we are reflecting on our childhood, we're just kind of trying to pick, I guess, the strengths and the weaknesses of how we were brought up and what we want to keep and what we want to get rid of. And I think that is something that would probably be very hard for any parent to hear is, hey, this is everything you did wrong. Because obviously that's what we remember, especially us just in this episode. We're talking about the things that we remember are being grounded, getting our phones taken away. We're not talking about, oh, I remember when grandpa took me to get ice cream. So obviously, like this topic is just a lot. And I think this conversation in general would be so hard to bring up to any parent, not even just ours. Let's wrap this up. Love you. Bye.